dangers of this drug and in hopes to prevent another tragedy such as what happened to Emily. Please give a warm welcome to Megan.
We're good. So, my name's Megan Mello. I'm 17 years old, and I go to Coyle and Cassidy High School. I want to tell you about 25i, which is fatally and detrimentally affecting the teenagers in our area, in our country, and all over the world. 25i is a very potent psychedelic drug, not similar to other well-known drugs such as marijuana. It is a hallucinogenic. It's similar to LSD, but so much more powerful. It imitates a natural substance, but has very different mechanisms. It's fairly new, but it's starting to make its mark, starting with middle school age children. Right there is the chemical makeup of it. It's very science. 25i-NBOMe, also known as SMILES, is a derivative of a research chemical, 2CI, and it was developed by a postdoc, Ralph Heem, at the FRE, University of Berlin in Germany. He was researching a potential PET tracer to observe metabolic process in the body. A PET tracer is a substance known as a contrast agent, which is used in medical scans to show internal organs and cellular process and tumors in your brain. Its original use was to measure the serotonin receptor, which is the feel-good transmitter, from a group of drugs called the phenethylamines. Heem tested it on rats, and because of its death rate, he deemed it toxic and poisonous to humans because of its extreme potency and potential fatality rate. The effects on the rats were that the serotonin binding was too strong, which means it can't be flushed from your brain like other chemicals could. Like if you take a Tylenol, it's not going to stay in your brain and affect it. It's going to be flushed out because it's a natural compound, unlike this drug. The effects on humans were that it was causing strong hallucinations for an extended period of time. One woman reported of having hallucinations over a year and a half after she took it. PEA is a stimulant in the human brain and increases the action of dopamine transmitters, which is feeling pleasure or happiness, in the brain's emotional center. Serotonin is a contributor to better mood control and impulse control. PEA drugs were used to treat ADHD and types of depression. It's an agonist of the 5-HT2A receptor, which means it imitates a mental response and has to do with the central nervous system, sending false interpretations of happiness. The serotonin is a transmitter that becomes binded by 25i because it's a chemically produced compound. 9 of the PEA-derived drugs were made illegal in the U.S., including all 25i variations. Some other names for 25i are 25C, 25B, Genome, New Nexus, Dime, Solaris, and Smiles. And on the left, right here, that is LSD, but right here is 25i, and you can't tell the difference between the two. Other forms of 25i, it can be sold as a powder, as a liquid, as nasal drips, or on blotter paper. And the way that it is packaged is that they have to put it inside of foil and tin foil, because if it touches your skin, it starts to get seeped in, and then you start to hallucinate just by touching it. So 25i's popularity exploded on online forums, on like drug blogs and stuff like that. Dealers try to pass it off as a legit pharmaceutical from India or China or other countries around there. They compare it to LSD, calling it the trip of a lifetime, when honestly that's not the reality. And the manufacturers in these companies are getting so much money just from false pretense. And so the batches that they come in are so irregular that 1 in 3 people die from who take it. So if I go around and I give you all the drug, here we go, we're good. You guys take it right here. So 1, 2, 3, you die. 1, 2, 3, you die. 1, 2, 3, you die, and etc., etc., etc. It is 1,000 times more potent than LSD, and LSD is very potent. Dealers make their own versions in labs and import it from other countries. They say it's safe and legal and natural on the packaging. As you can see, it says Mr. Happy, and then on the bottom it says not for human consumption. If you don't read from here down, you could see that it's meant for people, because it's saying if you take this, you will be happy, when the outcome is not that. The appearance of 25i is very similar to LSD. However, the effects on the brain are very different. 25i stops cell function and production of the vital organs, and a scientist from the Irwin Labs said 1 grain of 25i-NBOMe can be the difference between life and death. Tara Fitzgerald from Michigan, who reminds me a bit of Emily, actually, because not because they took the same drug, but because they like the same music tastes and their personalities were kind of similar. She purchased the drug from a dealer, and she had no idea that it was 25i. She bought it thinking it was LSD, but whenever she died from it, the dealer was arrested for murder, because in the drug market, synthetic drugs like 25i don't sell very well because they're said to be not effective, or because they're cheap or something or whatever. But if someone is sold a drug, and they die, the person who sold them the drug will be arrested for as little as 10 years. They could be in prison. The reality of 25i-NBOMe is that its extreme potency is fatal. It will have an extreme effect on anyone, no matter what their drug or alcohol resistance is. Natural LSD will not physically kill someone. It will tempt people to do things that will kill them, but it will not physically kill them. 25i will physically kill someone. One variation of 25i, say that 25i is made illegal. If you change a single molecule, one single atom, the entire chemical makeup is changed and no one knows about it. It's a new drug and it's being sold continuously, non-stop. If you take one hit of it, you never really know what you're taking, because on a blotter paper, one of the little squares could be perfectly fine, and you would just hallucinate, and the one right next to it could be 10 times more potent than that, and you could die instantly. it's targeted toward younger people. You can see that right here is Dr. Feelgood, and then there's the Camel cigarette logo, and there's Gone Straw Bananas or whatever. And it looks appealing because they want you to buy it because you don't know what it is. Whenever the majority of the people who die from it don't know what it is. Some of the effects on the body are visual and mental hallucinations, confusion, disorientation, scrambled communication, aggression, paranoia, insomnia. Those are just some of the mental effects that I could find. And then some of the physical effects are shaking, nausea, muscle spasms, breathing difficulty, high white blood cell count, fainting and loss of consciousness, rapid heart rate, extremely high fever, seizures, involuntary flailing of limbs, complete organ failure, heart attack, bleeding of the brain, restless sleep and exhaustion, rapid eye spasms, difficulty urinating, etc., etc., etc. I can't write down every single effect that could happen. One of the biggest effects is death. So many people have died already. There have been dozens of teenage deaths in 2016 alone, just from one hit of this drug. This is Alex Ryan from Cork, Ireland. He was among 6 people who took it at a party at either his house or a friend's house, and a neighbor got annoyed by how loud the music was, so the neighbor came over and saw that, and looked into the window and saw that 5 of the people were on the ground bleeding, and 1 kid was in the back of the room seizing and foaming at the mouth. Alex Ryan was in the hospital for a couple weeks before he was taken off life support, and right now people are benefiting from his organs because his family donated them. This is Preston Bridge. He was at a party after a dance in Australia, similar to around here, the high school prom. It's similar to that, but he was at an after party after that dance, and he took the drug thinking it was LSD and died from it. That's him in the hospital with, wrong button. That's him in the hospital with his mother, and then him in the hospital with his father. His father actually went to China in one of those manufacturing companies and found out how easy it was to make and how easy it is to sell for a huge profit. Kilos upon kilos of this drug is sold, and they're just raking in the money. He found out that you can't, that they can't check every single package that comes into the country, because, and so it slips through sometimes, and that could mean the death of one person. This is my friend Emily.
So I'm going to tell M's story because it's particularly difficult for Megan, and it's not so easy for me to tell either. But as I said, Emily was 14 when she took this drug just once. The night that it happened, she had a new friend sleep over. I'd been introduced to a couple of new friends just 2 days before, and they wanted to go out after they got home at around from walking around town at about 8:30, and I said no, it was too late. They were in for the night, and I could tell that there was a disappointment, especially in her new friend, and I had a suspicion that something bad might happen. I just had one of those gut feelings, and I put a bin of toys in front of the front door because I was like, I bet you they're gonna. Emily had never snuck out, but I just didn't trust this new person in my house. So I woke up at 2:17 in the morning, and just by chance I woke up, and then I went and checked, and they were not in the house. So I called Emily's phone twice and didn't get an answer, and then I texted her and said, if you don't answer your phone, I'm calling the police. She immediately called me back, and she just was mainly afraid of getting in trouble and saying she was sorry. I found out where she was, which is just 2 minutes down the road. I raced and picked the two of them up and basically lectured them for the 2-minute ride back to the house and for about 15 minutes afterwards. And then told them to go to bed. And the last thing Emily was saying was, can we please still go to TJ Maxx tomorrow and buy a bathing suit for this pool party this weekend? And I had no suspicion of anything being wrong. 5 minutes later, I'm down in the kitchen and I start to hear a change in Emily's voice. Her words were very long and drawn out and slow. And so I went upstairs and said, what's going on? What did you take? Because it was obvious to me that she had taken something. And she's like, I don't know, it was black and yellow. And the other girl corrected me and said, no, it was yellow and blue. And I frantically went and quickly was Googling what it could be, trying to figure out what was going on. And then I could hear crashing around upstairs, so I ran back upstairs, and Emily was violently thrashing her arms against the wall and around the room so hard that she could have broken a limb, and I was trying to contain her and keep her safe while I called the EMTs. And before the EMTs got there, she went into a seizure. And that was May 31st, June 1st of 2014. We went from a local hospital, we were flighted to MGH in Boston, where Emily was on a machine to keep her breathing, a machine to keep her heart going, a machine to keep an external liver device, an external kidney device, machines to keep her blood going up and down her legs. She was on so many machines I couldn't count. She had 14 plus doctors attending to her every single minute of every single day for 3 weeks before she succumbed to multiple organ failure. And I lost my child that day. So this is why this is a very important awareness campaign that I hope you will take very seriously. I'm going to give it back to Megan now.
The last thing she said to me was 2 years ago today. She said, "Happy birthday, Megan. I hope we can hang out really soon." And the last thing I ever said to her was, "Thank you, and I promise we will really soon." Whenever I went to go visit her in the hospital, I was told that she had taken something, and all that went through my mind was, it's probably not that bad, because the drugs that go around here, they're not that bad, because maybe she just took something and she just needed to get her stomach flushed or whatever. But I went in there and I saw her skin was a yellow-gray color. I didn't recognize her. She was hooked up to so many machines, and going there was the hardest thing that I've probably ever done. And sorry. How many of you guys are 13 or 14 years old? Raise your hand. How many of you guys are looking forward to high school or are planning on going there next year? How many of you guys are excited to graduate from high school and to go on to college? All right, everyone put your hands down. You have a chance to do all of those things. Emily was just turned 15 years old when she died. The girl who sold her the drug just turned 13. You have a chance to do what you want, to grow up, to go to high school, to enjoy your time there, to go to prom, to go to graduation, to go to college, to to get the job you want, to possibly get married and have kids someday. You have that chance. Emily made one mistake. One $5 mistake, and that cost her her whole life. These are some pictures of Emily of the time we were in middle school. Right there is Emily at a picnic. That's a picture of Emily that I took when we went to the Boston Science Museum whenever I was in 7th or 6th grade. There's me and Emily the summer going into my 7th grade year. There's us at my 10th birthday. That's me, and that's Emily right there. My childhood best friend is gone because of a mistake. And she took the drug once. Do not make the same mistake, because it could affect you. It could affect friends. I sat here in this very auditorium next to Emily and thought, that won't happen to me. That won't happen to anyone I know, but it did. Don't think that it couldn't happen to someone else because you're invincible. Because you're not. You are human, and your mistakes do have an effect on you and on your friends and on your family and on with everyone you love. These are just some people who have died in the United States. Clayton Otwell, right here, from Little Rock, Arkansas. Noah Carrasco, age 18, from Scottsdale, Arizona. Anthony Carlson from Carlson, Arizona. His picture's not up there, but he received 2 years in prison because he sold Noah that drug, and Noah died. There's Zachary Denaro he was 15, from Boca Raton, Florida. There's Chandler Thomas, 19, from Austin, Texas. Montana Sean Brown, who was 15, from Frisco, Texas. Tara Fitzgerald, that girl from Michigan right here, she was 17, from Woodsbury, Minnesota. There's Samuel Montse, age 16, from Indianapolis, Indiana. These people are just the people that I found. There's so many more that I can't even name, because and there's so many more on top of that who I don't even know. So these are just some of the statistics and stuff from our pamphlet. I don't know if we brought them, but we have them, and we can pass them out to you guys if you want them. And then this is about our memorial walk for Emily, if you guys want to join. It's also on the back of the pamphlet. It's on Saturday, June 11th at 10 o'clock in the morning at the Skylar Spigone Playground parking lot on Maple Ave in East Bridgewater. There will be raffles and donations for the Students Against Destructive Decisions Scholarship and their local television, the EBCCTV Award for graduating students of the high school there. And that's it. Are there any questions? It's just the name.
So it has something to do with the chemical formula. The Me at the end is a methyl group. So it's just a combination of the different atoms in the chemical formula, and then clever name that goes along with it. Genome also ends the same way. Any other questions?
I'll be bashful, speak up, feel comfortable.
Can I just make a comment?
Go right ahead, Mrs. Raynham.
This stuff scares me beyond belief. And this is just one type of drug, and obviously it's very potent and very scary. But there are other things out there, guys, you might think might be safer. Things can be laced with stuff. You can be getting something you have no idea it's rat poison, it's other things in there. There is no safe drug. And to think that some of you, at some point, may not be here because of something like this is completely preventable. Don't do it. You guys are on the verge of making the next step in your life, and I'm so sorry for your loss, for both of you. This is tragic and it's so preventable. Please think. Do not get involved with this stuff, or any drug. You really do not know what you're getting, and you do not know what the result will be. And there's a weight, tragic, broken hearts every time someone takes a chance with their life like this. So thank you guys so much for coming today too.
Yes, and Emily did have that nagging voice in the back of her head tell her no twice when it was offered to her. And we both, one of the statements that we like to end with is that when you have that little voice in the back of your head saying, maybe I shouldn't, listen to that voice. Because that's the voice that's telling you, you really shouldn't. The outcome is far too tragic.
I'd like to thank Erin and Megan for coming and sharing Emily's story. I just can't imagine, Erin, your loss, losing your child, your daughter is just unimaginable, and same thing, Megan, losing a friend. Boys and girls, I hope you learned from the message that was delivered here. One last point. Drug use, drug abuse, drug addiction. It doesn't discriminate. It attacks all families, all races, all nationalities, male, female, it doesn't matter. It doesn't discriminate. Please hear this message that was delivered to you people here today. Please do that for me. It's important that I brought Erin and Megan in. You needed to hear this message, as difficult as it might be for some of you because of some of the experiences you probably have already had in your lives, or a member of your family or a close friend has had. But I feel as if this message needs to be told.